All right, so move on to the next segment. We're going to pivot over here to the world of football inside the NFL world. And I'll be sharing my biggest threats to the reigning defending conference champions of the Philadelphia Eagles and the NFC, who are the reigning defending NFC champions and the Super Bowl champions, and the reigning defending AFC champions in the Kansas City Chiefs. My biggest threats for these respective teams heading into this year's NFL season. So we'll start off with the AFC. And the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs this year, in my opinion, it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Baltimore Ravens are truly the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Conference this upcoming NFL season. This is Super Bowl or bust in Baltimore this year. This is actually Lamar Jackson's best chance of winning a Super Bowl since he's been a starting quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, taking over for Joe Flacco years ago. This roster is stacked from top to bottom on both sides of the ball, offensively, defensively. They're going to be top 10 units on both sides of the ball this year. On offense, they have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, lethal quarterback and running back duo, Zay Flowers at wide receiver, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, the veteran wide receiver that they just brought in, Mark Andrews at tight end. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they're pretty loaded as well. If healthy, they're going to be a wrecking ball. You have Roquan Smith. You have Mike Green, edge rusher from Marshall, that got a steal in the second round of the NFL draft. They got Nate Wiggins at cornerback, Kyle Hamilton, Jair Alexander, Marlon Humphrey, Malachi Starks that they got at safety in the first round from Georgia. I mean, what can go wrong if this Baltimore Ravens team is completely healthy? Now, they got to overcome their kryptonites in the playoffs with them not getting past the Chiefs in the AFC Championship 2 years ago, and then falling short on the road against the Buffalo Bills in the second round, the divisional round. But if Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens can finally get over the hump and stop defeating themselves in the playoffs, they could honestly win it all this year. I think they might be an odds-on favorite right now, top 3 odds-on favorite, but I am liking what the Baltimore Ravens did this offseason, the draft. I think business is going to be booming in the DMV this year with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And plus, they do have John Harbaugh. I know a lot of Ravens fans piss on him, piss on his celebrations at times, but this man is still one of the best coaches in the National Football League. I would give up an arm and a leg for the Dallas Cowboys to have a head coach like John Harbaugh as we go through our coaching carousel. But getting back on topic here, the Baltimore Ravens have proven they could beat the top contending teams, the heavyweight contenders in the AFC and the NFC in the regular season. Lamar Jackson is one of the most successful quarterbacks in regular season history. He has a 74.5 win percentage as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. So it's do or die for the Baltimore Ravens. A Super Bowl or bust this year. I think this is their best shot to win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson starting at the helm at the quarterback position. I think they are the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs this upcoming NFL season. But I do have an honorable mention in the AFC. My honorable mention is the Denver Broncos. I think the Denver Broncos are a sleeper pick to some in the AFC conference to give the Kansas City Chiefs a run for their money as one of the biggest threats in the conference. And I do believe that the Denver Broncos could be that threat that the Kansas City Chiefs need to look out for. They're already in the AFC West. It's going to be a more competitive division with the Raiders getting better, the Chargers getting better, and the Broncos getting better. I think the Broncos, it could actually steal that AFC West division for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is a fair assessment to think this could happen this upcoming NFL season. I mean, Sean Payton has changed the culture out there in Denver. Last year, the Broncos went 10-7, secured one of the final wildcard spots in the AFC Conference. Bo Nix, starting quarterback in his rookie season, coming from Oregon, had a solid rookie campaign. And the offense, they actually upgraded on both ends of the ball, offensively and defensively, during the offseason. On offense, they added R.J. Harvey in the second round of the NFL draft at the running back position. They also added J.K. Dobbins at the running back position. Evan Ingram coming over from Jacksonville playing at the tight end position. But then the defense is stacked. They also added Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, former safety for the San Francisco 49ers, and Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas that they got in the first round to play alongside Patrick Surtain, who is the best cornerback in the National Football League. This defense is good. They were already a top 10 unit last year, and they're going to just get tremendously better with the upgrades, and I think Bo Nix is going to take a big leap in his sophomore season. the Denver Broncos are here to stay, and they're going to be a lethal threat to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're my sleeper pick and honorable mention to be a big threat to cause big problems to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Conference. But then let's move over to the NFC side of things. The biggest threat to the Philadelphia Eagles this year is going to be the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions, I do believe, are the biggest threats to the reigning defending Super Bowl champions of the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Conference. The Lions went 15-2 last year to win the NFC North. They just got outplayed by the Washington Commanders in the divisional round. They weren't the better football team. That's the reason why the outcome happened with the Commanders getting past them in the divisional round. But I do believe that the Lions are going to have a big year once again in the NFC Conference. The Lions, outside the Eagles, are the biggest threat in the NFC Conference. They still have Jared Goff on the offensive side of the ball at the quarterback position. Amon-Ra St. Brown at the wide receiver position. Jameson Williams at the wide receiver position. I think those two are going to be a special duo out there in Detroit. Both had over 1,000 yards receiving last year for the Lions. Looking at what also they still have Sonic and Knuckles at the running back position of Gibbs and David Montgomery. They still have Sam Laporta at the tight end position. But I want to see how creative the play calling is going to be, because Ben Johnson, former offensive guru that was the offensive coordinator, is now still in the division, but now the head coach of the Bears. So John Morton is actually going to be the new offensive coordinator for this team. He was the former passing coordinator for the Denver Broncos a year ago. I want to see how creative the play calling gets, but the defensive side of the ball, I think they're going to be healthy. I like the addition of DJ Reed, former cornerback from the New York Jets they acquired during the offseason. And they also upgraded their offensive line. The Lions are going to be better defensively. They had a total of 21 players injured throughout the defensive side of the ball throughout the duration of the season last year, and they still went 15-2. I get that credit to Aaron Glenn, former defensive coordinator of this team that is now the head coach of the New York Jets. We'll see how they look on the defensive side of the ball as well. But I'm not counting out the Detroit Lions. I think they're still going to be a legit team out the NFC. I think they're the biggest threat to the Philadelphia Eagles this NFL season. And then an honorable mention will go to the Washington Commanders. I think the Washington Commanders are going to be right on the heels of the Philadelphia Eagles. They are in the same division. They got to play the Eagles twice in the NFC East. And the Commanders did hit on some big selections and some big trades during the NFL offseason, acquiring Deebo Samuel from the San Francisco 49ers, acquiring Laramie Tunsil on the offensive line from the Houston Texans. I mean, they also just acquired Von Miller last night as I record this segment for NFL free agency, late in NFL free agency. But the Commanders went 12-5 last year. Jaden Daniels has had one of the best rookie seasons of all time and won 2 road playoff games and against some really good football teams in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and going on the road against the number 1 seed and the Detroit Lions, winning that game in the divisional round. Now the chemistry is getting better. The front office is coming together to build this team to be a championship caliber team. It makes me jealous as a Dallas Cowboys fan. I think the Commanders are here to stay, and Dan Quinn has truly changed the culture out there in D.C. for the Commanders. Looks like they're going to be a contending team for a while. I think that's an honorable mention as one of the biggest threats to the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming NFL season. But those are my biggest threats to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming NFL season.